say 39.
Number 1.
39.
1.
38.
37.
36.
35.
34.
33.
32.
31.
30.
29.
28.
27.
26.
25.
24.
23.
22.
21.
20.
19.
18. 17. 16.
15.
14.
13.
12.
11.
10. 9. 8.
7. 6.
5.
4.
3.
2.
1. It's time for mouthwash. Giddy up.
Hi, and welcome to the Mouthwash Talk Show, a minty fresh take on politics. And man, I know we have good shows, but this is going to be a good show tonight. Been looking forward to this one. We have House of Representative, Indiana House of Representative Jim Lucas on. And I don't know if you follow him on Facebook or anything, but he is quite the hoot. I wish we had more people that would speak freely. So he asked me before the show started, is this a free for all? Is this when we say whatever? I'm like, yeah, come on now. This show, we respect everybody's opinion and we hope you have one. But I'm going to go ahead and bring on, wait, we got a little bit of announcement in the Schmitz family here coming on. So I want to get this out of the way early on here. I'm going to bring on somebody here. Let's see what we have here. Oh, hi, Lisa. What are you doing on the Mouthwash show tonight?
I don't know. I'm just kind of an innocent bystander, maybe.
Yeah. Well, you know how you leave your wife home to do something. Now, Lisa's notorious because she was in retail when she was younger, and I would come home and all the furniture would be all moved around. Is this something like that? Is this something like I'm going to wonder why the couch is up against this wall? And is this something like that?
Now, Johnny, you know better than that right now because I am essentially disabled with my foot. So I can't do any of that, which is
it's not that.
Lucky for you, right?
Yeah, I guess I can find the couch when so what gives? What are you on the Mouthwash show for? Why do you want to ruin any dignity that you have?
I just felt like I would steal some of your thunder and run for office.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, shut the front door. So what are you cooking up down there? What are you cooking up?
So okay, I'll just go ahead and make this official and try not to make a joke about it because it is serious stuff. I am running, just registered today for Indianapolis City County Council seat District 17. And I have to tell you, I've kind of had to put together a little thought in my head of how to remember District 17 but since the map has been redrawn and things have kind of been mixed up, I'm like, is it 22? Is it 16? Is it, so 17 was how old I would have been able to see an R-rated movie back in my hometown of Arkansas. And so that is how I'm going to remember.
Okay. Well,
17.
It's they draw these district maps like Peyton Manning calls signals under center.
Yeah.
So, it's like, hey,
I will say though, I'm very happy that the redraw now includes more of our neighborhood. So our neighborhood was split, which we kind of know that's how they play the game, right? They try to split neighborhoods. And so now we do have a little bit more of Mars Hill included and not split. One of the neighborhoods that I'm really disappointed that is still split is West Indy.
Yeah.
Because that's a neighborhood very similar to Mars Hill, and all it does is divide the neighbors. So,
Yep. Well, we're going to look forward to, because hey, we got a show to do, and you hijacking my show here and all that. It's like, I know your family and all, but hey, we have standards here.
Yeah,
on
I know.
Mouthwash.
Thanks for letting me come on, though. It's going to be a fun ride.
Yeah, it's and we're gonna have some other candidates announcing here. I see
Yeah.
maybe one was in the live chat there, but hey, we'll see about that. And
Yeah,
more to
good.
come. So, all right, now I'm going to play next as we say adios to you. I'm going to play our preview to our show Thursday night with Jim Merritt. I think you might be surprised at the guests we're going to have. Well, let's see who that is. And then on the other side of this preview, I'm going to have House of Rep Jim Lucas on here, and we're going to tear it up tonight. So, Lisa, I'm proud of you. I think you're going to do a great job. I would probably sign up to run against you in there. We'd be like Hart and Hart or Kramer versus Kramer type of thing. But I would lose.
No.
I would flat lose, and I'd be embarrassed. So I'm not doing it.
No, I'm going to put you on my campaign, so you don't have any chance of doing that.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll see you later after the show.
All right. Bye.
All right, folks. Here you go. Here is our preview for On His Merit this Thursday at 9 p.m. All right, Mr. Jim Lucas, how are you doing this evening?
Living my dream, John.
You are, this is going to be fun. I hope we may have to separate you and Lucy.
I love Lucy.
With all the fun we're going to have tonight, and It looks like Tiffany's in the house too. So our whole crew's here. What could go wrong? So Jim, I want you to tell us a little bit about yourself for some of our viewers that may not know you. They'd be living under a rock, but give us a little background.
Jim Lucas, born and raised in Seymour, beautiful southern Indiana. I was one of those people that did not pay attention to government until government started messing with me. And then I figured, what the hell? I want to get involved. I ran for Seymour City Council at large, happened to win, started bucking the system, and I saw where one person can make a difference. I started voting no. This is why I'm voting no. This is my solution, and this is what I want to do. And before you know it, I started being able to make a small change in a small town, and I got bit by the bug, ran for the state in 2010, got really, really close, got beat, ran again in 12, and I've been a state rep ever since. Small business owner for 23 years, Marine Corps veteran, just average person. I'm Jim, just Jim. And
what I love about you, you are not afraid to air it out. You're like, you're like old Peyton Manning back there. You're going to throw it down deep, So, I'm going to ask you one little question. In 10 years, how much have you seen it change at the house?
You know what? That's a loaded question. It's a good change because, but that's a very valid question. The state of Indiana, when you look at it fiscally, we're AAA state. Credit rating, we're doing great. Doing a lot of great things, low taxes, low cost of living. Things are really, really good. We're number one in the nation on several things, road tax infrastructure. I know a lot of people are going to scream and argue about that, but hey, when you dive down in what I tell people, be intellectually honest when you look at these things, set your emotions aside, set your biases aside, but look at it and dig and compare us to other states. And the first thing I'll say, yes, government is so screwed up, and it always will be, always has been, always will be. If you don't like it, get involved. Start going to your city council meetings, county council meetings, school board meetings. All politics are local. You have to go to those things. But states, we're an easy target because we have to deal with what the feds hand us, and we also have to set the guidelines for an entire state. So we are easy victims. We're low-hanging fruit for a lot of the pundits. People want to come after anybody government, but jump in there.
It's you've come to the right place here because we have a lot of folk that follow the politic and are interested in that, and we need more people that are going to stand up because we have a lot of people that go along with.
Yeah.
We don't need any more go along with guys. We have plenty of those.
No.
So, well, I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to play small talk because our topic tonight's going to be your bill 1263, and
Love
that's the medical marijuana. And we're going to do a little pros and comparison to totally legal and the marijuana and things, all that good stuff. But I'm going to go ahead and play Mark Smalls. I don't know if you're familiar with Mark Small, but he does a segment called Small Talk. Very professional. I don't even have to babysit him. He tapes it. He sends it to me. I put it on the show, and he has a different point of view in a lot of ways. But he actually Bill Levin's Church of the Cannabis.
Yeah.
He was actually the attorney for that. So it's, this thing's sort of coming together. So you're going to see it the first time I see it. I usually let him have a carte blanche. I put it down. We look at it. On the other side, we'll have a panel out here. And then you'll be on the hot seat, and I think you'll do just fine. So let's see what Mark Small has to say.
Hi, I'm Mark Small. This is Small Talk for January 31st, 2023. The question shouldn't be, should we legalize marijuana? The question should be, why aren't we legalizing all drugs? If you look at the problems that are normally associated with drugs being out there, they normally stem from drugs being illegal. Because there's an illicit market, people who sell it, the illicit market can really boost the price. They make a lot of money. If it's legalized, that market's gone. Once California started legalizing medical marijuana years ago, the market in northern Mexico for marijuana dropped. Well, look at alcohol. Prohibition didn't work on alcohol. It was legalized, and today you don't read about revenue agents busting in on stills or anything, and people aren't dying from impure alcohol like they did from bathtub gin. And that's an important point. Look at how people are dying now from fentanyl. They're doing fentanyl thinking they're getting heroin, or maybe they're getting fentanyl, but it's really, really pure. Doesn't take a whole lot to push them over the edge, and they die. If drugs are legal, people are going to have packaging. We can do that and say, this is what's in here, what percentage concentration. We can also do things like make needles freely available for people so that hepatitis isn't spread that way. It all goes down to the idea of, should we be really judgmental and tell people they can't catch a buzz? Seriously, that boat already left the port. People have been catching a buzz throughout all of history. It's not intrinsically immoral to do that. What we end up doing with drugs being illegal is we put a lot of people in prison. We screw up people's lives and their careers. We end up spending a lot of money on it. And in the end, the war on drugs was brought in by the Nixon administration, not as a war on drugs, but as a race matter, and also to slam people who were protesting against the Vietnam War. John Ehrlichman, who was a big guy for Nixon, said that's what it was all about. So do we have any examples where people have done this before, legalized all drugs? Well, in our history, drugs were legal until like the early part of the 20th century. But also Portugal, 20 years ago, decriminalized all drugs. We had 74,000 people overdose in this country last year. Portugal, under 100. Any of the demographics that have to do with harms conventionally linked with illegal drugs, they really don't exist once drugs are legal. There are far fewer problems. I'm Mark Small. This is Small Talk for January 31st, 2023. Peace, love, happiness. Now I know. May the force be with you.
Yeah, so that I'm going to have to correct him on that. It's 100,000 overdoses last year. So I got the wrong guy out here. You don't want to see me out. There we go. And I'm supposed to be down here, and that's looking at the guys down. Okay, now we're good. Now we're good to go. So I'm going to start with Tiffany on top. It looks like you made it here. Like, did you just fly in on your magic carpet? I mean, you were, saying you're going to be late.
My broom.
Good.
My broom.
Oh, your broom.
Thank
okay.
you.
Yeah, it's double parked. Yeah.
Yes,
so how are
it
you
is.
tonight?
So you mentioned there's a House bill that you're championing. Can you tell us about it?
Oh, you're going to go right to the questions. You don't care about Lucy and Ed, how they're doing, do you?
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Yeah,
I'm doing fantastic. Came in
on
on my broom.
Lucy, how you doing? It's the big L. Jim refers to you as the big L, and he's the little L. So, how are you doing, Big L?
Hey, I'm doing great. I'm actually a fan of Jim. We're friends. I think he's a great guy. The only criticism I can usually have for Jim is I don't think he takes it far enough.
Yeah, but hey, Lucy, you always have something for somebody, but that would almost be a compliment there. So,
Oh,
but you
we'll
got to
wait.
remember
I'm
where
sure there's some reason that I can take him to task tonight.
yeah, there is. Oh yeah,
I have thick skin. Bring it.
yeah, we can kind of Ed. How you doing? It looks like your 2 cans and a string are working pretty good tonight. Is that wishful thinking? How's it going? Well, the mic's not working.
Because he's on mute.
He's on mute.
As long as we don't try
There
to
we
figure out whether Ed's the D or little d, I'm doing well tonight. So, yes, doing fine.
You're a medium D. You're a medium D. All right. So
Okay.
now we can start the questioning. So the witness is on the stand. Tiffany, would you like to start with the first question?
Sure. Can you tell us about the House bill that you're champion?
Me?
Yes, please.
Yeah.
Because I have a bill that I'm pushing. It is truth in advertising because 30% of lip gloss does not come out of the tube. So that's a whole other conversation. So my people are ready to rally. Say the word.
What? Say the word. Let's get involved. Let's do this. Let's push this across the line. It's House Bill 1263. It's this year's version of pretty much the same medical cannabis bill that I've been pushing for several years now. It's I took a lot of time, spent a lot of money touring around different states. Indiana is in the very unique position of being able to learn from other states. We can take best practices of what to do, what not to do. And I think that encompasses House Bill 1263. It's a very simple bill. It's a foot in the door. We have to be realistic about this. And it's past the point of let's quit sugarcoating what we're trying to do here. I don't care about revenue. I don't care about anything else. What I care about is helping Hoosiers have a better quality of life and being able to, deal with their pain, deal with their depression, deal with their anxiety, deal with whatever ails them, because cannabis is pretty much the most perfect plant God ever put on this earth. And my eventual goal is to treat it like a tomato plant.
Yeah, well, and that would be, the bumper on the end of the show was nature's natural pain reliever, or nature's pain reliever, and that's what it is. So Ed, you have a question, because I know Lucy's got like 8 of them. So you're question challenged sometimes. So I want to give you the early opportunity here.
So I just want to go to, I agree with everything you just said, but where is the resistance? Because I've heard so many people, and we all have someone who's been touched by cancer or some disease that, medical marijuana would have helped them along the way. And I keep hearing from legislators that my people don't want this, and I don't see it. So where is that resistance coming from?
You figure that out, Ed, and you tell me. Most frustrating things Indiana State House, it's Republicans own everything. So we own this issue, and I accept that. I accept it. And it's really, really sad, because it drives me nuts, because this one issue, it polls higher than anything else. It's off the charts. And if you went out and polled people, you couldn't get them to agree upon the color of the sky. But what we can see, and what we do see, poll after poll after poll, is medical cannabis polls off the charts. So why the Republican Party does not take this single issue and run with it is beyond me. So that's the question that just evades all kinds of common sense and whatever else might be out there. So it drives.
Yeah, so you say polling. So, we do, for our viewers, we have People Over Politics is a Facebook group we have. You can't do a poll on pages. So we have this People Over Politics group. And we ask that question. It says, in Indiana, marijuana should be decriminalized, 2%, medical use only 18%, totally legal, 70%, 9% not legal, and 1% was so stoned they couldn't tell us what they thought. It was didn't know. So, you talk about polling. I agree with you, Jim. I don't know what this is like. No brains here.
But here's the thing, guys. It's not the polling. I don't. When I encourage everybody, do your own research, educate yourself, quit listening to other people but sometimes, they do bring a lot to the table. So you have to take that into consideration, but educate yourself. That's what started me down this path, this journey. Is several years ago, the state of Indiana was looking at CBD. It worked for certain types of seizures. And I've always been indifferent. You do you, I'll do me. Leave me alone, I'll leave you alone. But once I started researching CBD and hemp, you cannot help but segue into cannabis. A lot of people say it's marijuana. I want to use the word cannabis because it was funny. Mark Smalls, the gentleman you had on here earlier, he must have heard my testimony in summer study committee because of a Henry Anslinger. He referenced him and Nixon. Our own federal government coined the term marijuana to make it seem like it's this evil thing, and it's not. That was back in 1937, and Nixon carried it on. Completely ignored the Schaefer Commission, who unanimously said to decriminalize cannabis. Well, that threw Nixon over the edge, so he turns it to a Schedule 1, and it is based on racism, which is bullshit, and that drives me nuts. But forget the polling. At the end of the day, cannabis helps people, period. Our body with the endocannabinoid system, our bodies are designed to work with cannabis. You cannot physically overdose from it. Fentanyl is a Schedule 2, cannabis is Schedule 1. Go figure that one. If that one doesn't raise red flags all across, every acre in America, I don't know what does. But the fact that we are still fighting this war on drugs, particularly this war on cannabis, is the biggest bullshit argument of the century.
Yep, and I would agree. Spoken well by the little L. Now let's see what the big L has to say here. Lucy, I saved you for last because I know you're going to have a bunch of questions that you could fit in here. So go ahead.
Yes. Got to give Jim his props. Like word for word, that is almost everything that I would absolutely say. Of course, I'm going to take it a step further, and I'm going to have to really agree with Mark Small and Small Talk today. Everything that he said was so spot on. And just a brief comment before I asked him a question. I am astounded that adults will put up with a tyrannical government that is so tyrannical, it'll even put itself in your business and jail you for the crime of ingesting a plant. It's incredible. And I want it to be as legal as broccoli. I like broccoli better than tomatoes, although I like tomatoes pretty well. But when you go to the seed store, what do you see? You see different types of tomatoes, right? You see big ones, little ones, different colors. And nobody is coming to put you in jail because you are changing your body's chemistry with lycopene. But, the moment that you decide that you want to be, calmer, less anxiety, more able to deal with stuff, the government doesn't want you in that business. So, Jim, my question for you is, when you look at what you are able to do in the House, how can citizens support you and other common sense, rational members who are literally trying to free Hoosiers from a jail cell?
Drive your elected representatives and senators absolutely nuts by calling them, emailing them. Be respectful. And here's the thing too, it is frustrating. And a lot of times we lose this argument because of our frustration or emotions. We have to be smart about this. We have all the facts on our side, and I'm a prime example. I come into this with an open mind, but the more you educate yourself on this issue, the more you learn about it, the more you're like, oh my God, this is so wrong. Lucy, you brought up the court system. I want to point out, I'm a big constitutionalist. Indiana Constitution, I just pulled it up, Article 1, Section 19, in all criminal cases, whatever, the jury shall have the right to determine the law and the facts. That's jury nullification right there. Now, be careful. Don't run in there waving that flag if you get pulled over. But I've talked to so many police officers, and they know this is bullshit. It is a bullshit law. When you look at Frederick Bastiat, the citizen, when law and morality, citizen when law and morality contradicts each other, the citizen has a cruel alternative of either losing his moral sense or losing his respect for the law. And that nothing could define this issue any more than cannabis right now, because it is bullshit that we are criminalizing cannabis, because Indiana is a sea of insanity right now. We're an island. When you look at Illinois, Ohio and Michigan, they are all medical states. Kentucky, their governor just did an executive order, up to 8 ounces? Christ, what's that? A truckload? For certain, I think it's 21 instances of medical issues that you can use cannabis for. But now we have Illinois and Michigan are recreational states, and go to Michigan. Good God, go up there, get if you want to risk Indiana's obscene laws coming back just to one. I hate to use quality of life, because recreational, yes, cannabis is recreational so much better than alcohol. What is it? 100,000 people die every year from alcohol poisoning. You cannot die from an overdose from cannabis. But it's not just that, it's quality of life. Medically, we are seeing people, that have cancer, pain relief. I personally know people that I've held in my arms, and as they have cried, they're maxed out on their freaking opioids and their pain meds that aren't working. You give them a nice indica, and 20, 30 minutes later, the tears quit flowing, their body quits shaking from the pain, and they're able to endure it. And that's the one thing that pisses me off. And I will not freaking quit saying this. We are criminalizing responsible Hoosiers. And that is so immoral. And that is bullshit on our part. And the Indiana Republican Party owns that. So Indiana Republicans, listen to me right now. If I have anything to say, quit criminalizing Hoosiers for simply wanting a better quality of life.
Can I interject a second, like a follow-up question?
We'll let you do that, Lucy. You patiently
How
waited,
much?
so you win.
So I'm a fan of individual responsibility, and
Yes.
I'm frustrated that LEO, because these are not peace officers, these are law enforcement officers, that individual human beings for a relatively small amount of money each week are willing to go out and bully and murder their fellow citizens, as we just saw this week in a most horrific way. But even here in Hoosierland, they're willing to go lock their fellow citizens up for a cage because someone told them to do that, regardless of, the morality, you have the legality. So my question is, I know that we have private prisons here. I know that we have contracts that guarantee a certain amount of occupancy of those private prisons. How much of our marijuana cannabis policy is really derived from the fact that it's pretty low risk to, honestly, just lock up a whole bunch of stoners? They're pretty nonviolent people on the whole. And isn't it easier to fill up the prisons with nonviolent people that are easier to manage than to go after the actual criminals?
Okay, that is a long question. I want to address that first and foremost. I want to stand up to our fellow men and women that wear the uniform, law enforcement officers. One bad apple should not reflect on the whole group. Yes, there are bad actors out there, and we need to hold those people accountable, which we saw, I think, in the incident that you just referenced. Those people are being held accountable, and they should be. The people.
Thank God for body cams, because they would not be held accountable if the citizens hadn't gotten that uproar.
And the police, I challenge police out there, weed out your bad people. Those are the ones that whatever, 1/10 of 1%, because our law enforcement officers are incredible people. They have to deal with mind-numbing shit every day. I used to be a reserve officer. I'll stand up for them. I'll walk through fire for them. But you guys have to weed out your own. So now getting through that, it is our responsibility. The lawmakers, we make the laws. So we are the ones that make the laws that those police officers, okay, we're putting them in the spot. They have to enforce those laws. Now, yes, they have discretion, but they have to be careful too, because if a law is on the book, it needs to be enforced. And that's why my biggest goal is to get rid of bad laws. They shouldn't be on the books.
Well, that's absolutely true. But if we have jury nullification, why don't we have law enforcement officers standing up and saying, we're just simply not going to enforce that? We do see that around the country with really stupid things. Like certain county sheriffs have stepped forward in Missouri and said, we're not going to enforce this stabilization strap thing.
Okay.
Biden has.
Don't throw the people in the trenches. I would respectfully disagree. It's not on their shoulders. It's on leadership and the decision makers up above them. So we can't.
Was it on the shoulders of the Nazis who literally forced them into the showers, or was it on leadership? Until you come down to the individual
You're right.
responsibility. And that's what I'm seeing with our law enforcement. We saw a whole bunch of people
believe
brainwashed by a
that-
fake pandemic.
talking about
And they were willing to call for my murder because I refused to take an experimental drug.
And this is why the big L libertarians will never get anywhere in the state of Indiana, because you went right to Nazis. And there's no,
yeah, we have that on our show. It's
we
Bill
literally
Gates or
have
Nazis.
Klaus Schwab, who runs the World Economic Forum, who planned the pandemic, did Event 201 a few months before Wuhan, released it onto the public, who is literally the child of Hitler's right-hand man. We have what's her name? She's like the Kamala Harris of Canada. I'm trying to remember her name, but they're trying to make her the head of NATO. She's the granddaughter of the Nazi propagandist. Of Hitler's propaganda.
All right, Lucy, I'm about to put you back on the rails here.
I know, put me on mute. It's the only thing that's going to work.
No, I'm not going to mute you. I'm not. We're going to go to Tiffany, but I want to get.
Wait. I'd love to see you have this whole show, because you are destroying the Indiana Libertarian Party right now.
Well, let's go on to this next one here. Let's go on. This is a question we'd like to get our viewers. We'd like to let them get in here. How do you feel tested when someone gets pulled over for driving like a dipshit? So, that's a question from one of our viewers that would like to know that, because we were talking about law enforcement and you just talked about law. So how does that work? I mean, is there a breathalyzer for that, or
laws on the books that people that can determine if people are driving impaired or not? All police officers are trained to determine if people are driving impaired or not. And then you follow the law from there without turning anybody into a Nazi or a WEF follower.
You said WWF?
Okay.
Oh, okay. I thought that was World Wrestling Federation. But Tiffany, do you have a question, comment, or otherwise here to throw into the mix?
Sure. Jim, I am completely in favor of medical marijuana, medical cannabis. I think it makes a lot of sense. So, my daughter would go to the dentist and I'd pay for her to get laughing gas. And then I had some work done and they were like, do you want the gas? And I was like, well, sure. And I was like, oh my God, this is very calm and relaxing experience for, getting some dental work done. And then when I went in for my routine cleaning for an extra $45, I could have the gas. I was like, well, yeah, why wouldn't I do that? So we fast forward to like medical cannabis, and my background's in pharmaceutical sales. Okay. And when I had new meds, like doctors were always apprehensive about writing them because they didn't understand the science and hadn't seen the safety data. But more likely, they didn't understand the science. So a lot of what I did was just explaining to doctors how medicine worked in the body. I sold Cialis, I sold diabetes meds, I sold a blood thinner, all kinds of stuff, antipsychotics, antidepressants. So my question is, who down at the State House is lobbying for medical cannabis? Because so often you'll hear legislators say, show me more data, show me more data. It's just a smokescreen. They simply don't understand the science behind how it works in the body. How, ingesting it, like eating it, is so much different than smoking it. So who's responsible for educating them?
The individual. It's out there. And that's what it drives me nuts. We hear from the executive branch, we need more data, we need more research. It's like, well, that's bullshit. We have
60 years of it.
And that drives me nuts, because the thing about cannabis is you cannot physically die from an overdose from it. So I've traveled several different states. You go out there and you talk to these bud tenders who are very well educated in, and the first thing they'll say, what experience do you want? Like, well, hey, like me personally, I'm 58. I've been hard on my body my whole life. I ache. So when I don't ache, I feel good. It's really that simple. And they'll say, okay, try this strain. Here's a nice kush over here. Okay, don't take too much because you'll be impaired. Don't drive. Make sure you stay at home. And the nice thing is you can discover your own individual tolerance of dosages with cannabis. You can't do that with opioids or fentanyl or any of this other garbage.
Or alcohol. Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you 100%. I'm with you. Tons of veterans, they get a lot of relief from medical cannabis, especially if it can get people off of a cocktail of anti-anxiety, antidepressant, neurotropics that are, even for seizures. But no one is explaining to your colleagues how it works in the body, and none of them are going to do the work. It's kind of like
They are there.
everybody's afraid. Somebody has to be a leader from the establishment.
I want to push back on that. We did have, thankfully, Dr. Brad Barrett. He's chairman of the health committee on the House side. He had a summer study committee, and Dr. Barrett is I cannot say enough great things about him. He's coming into this with an open mind. He had a 4-hour summer study committee that was just off the charts, rocked it, and I could not have been happier with how that it turned out, because we had such great testimony from industry experts. I mean, doctors, scientists, research people that are in the pharmaceutical industries, such as yourself, you mentioned. And we brought a lot of knowledge to the table. And now it's just getting people to, and this is what's driving me nuts. I'm beating my head against a brick wall. Why in the hell can't Indiana Republicans get off of this X and just do the right thing? But, this is why podcasts like this and people such as yourself, we get out here and we have these rational discussions. We bring education to the people. And that's the whole thing. You mentioned veterans earlier. The one thing that locked it in for me, this was several years ago. I had a gentleman, elderly person, stopped into my business. I didn't know this guy from Adam. He stopped in. He goes, "Hey, are you Jim Lucas, the guy that's pushing marijuana?" I said, "Yeah, what can I do for you?" He goes, "I'm a Vietnam vet, and you don't know me," but he said, "I want to thank you for the work that you're doing." I'm like, "Well, it's my pleasure, because it's the right thing to do." And this guy starts telling me his story. He says, I fought, I saw combat, saw things that I shouldn't have saw. I hate it. I have issues. I go to the VA, and he goes, they're giving me all these prescription drugs. He goes, I can't tolerate them because of the side effects. And that's the thing. And we know that for a fact. That's the data that's out there. And we know that. And this guy starts breaking down. Here's a stranger that come into my business, older man, Vietnam vet, fought for his country, starts crying right in front of me. And he goes, "I'm tired of feeling like a criminal." And I'm like, holy shit, what do you do? I start crying right there. I'm like, this broke me up. I'm like, here, I'm a lawmaker. I am criminalizing this man that gave his life for our country. And he's a criminal because of people like me. And I committed from that moment on. I'm like, I don't care what it takes, what I have to do to tell people, to educate them. We have to get over this prejudice, this ignorance of this incredible plant.
Yeah, it is that is heartbreaking, especially when you're the guy that that pulls the strings. You're not the guy, but you're a guy. So let's go to the part about your bill as opposed to there is a total legalization bill. Is there not some other bills out there that are going in that direction?
Oh, there's but keep in mind, this is Indiana. Politics is king, and it's very frustrating. I want to reiterate, if it were up to me, we treat it like a tomato plant. Grow your own, grow as much as you want. But if you overstep boundaries and you start becoming irresponsible for it, driving impaired, start putting other people's lives in harm, that's when we're going to come out and say, hey, you can't do that. We're going to hold you responsible for your own actions. But when there's so many different strains out there, and you go to other states that have seen the light and they decriminalize this. If you find a strain, say you have insomnia, and you find this little plant, we're going to call it Big Red. This big red strain. Here's a plant that you can go grow your own medicine. You can grow your own sleep medicine at home instead of taking an Ambien, which might give you hallucinations or mess with your organs or something like this. You can grow your own plant at home for medicine. Explain to me and not die from it. Tell me what's wrong with that.
Yeah, well, I tell you, Eli Lilly may have some problems with that. What I'm saying?
I just posted in the chat, $22.6 billion in antidepressants alone is expected to be the market for 2026, and it was over $17 billion last year. That's a whole bunch of reasons to oppose people like us. For those who are listening and need help with sleep, the herbs that you want to check out that I take, no medical advice, I'm just sharing what I do: valerian, passion flower, lemon balm. Those are all really pretty easy to grow. If you need help with pain, wild lettuce has an opiate-like action, but it's not an opiate. It like ties up those receptors. And skullcap. Skullcap is amazing for pain.
And throw some Big Red in there and you sleep like a baby. This reminds me of the riverboat gambling.
Hey,
When we had gambling coming in here, and then Ed, I want you to go after this, ask a question or comment. We had the riverboat had to go out and sail. Then the riverboat went to the dock. Then the riverboat went on the ground. And then how long did that take, Jim? What, 15 years to do all that business?
And see, that's the frustrating part. It's the politics in this state, and we know it's the right thing to do, but I for the life of me, I can't figure it out. So if you guys figure it out, you let me know. But meantime, we just keep plugging away.
Yeah,
well, like, who's lobbying for it? There can't be any money in it. Who's lobbying for it?
Oh, there's money in it. I mean, look around. There's
So
tons.
do you have lobbyists down there?
Yes.
Yep. So we got Becky Cash. We have Becky Cash. Becky Cash is new to the house there, and she says it's true. I haven't seen any lobbyists on cannabis, so maybe they need to go see Becky Cash. She's a new person in there. That'd be good. So Ed,
no. Jim, can you answer the question? Who's lobbying for medical cannabis?
I didn't hear the question. Sorry.
No, there are many groups, and this is okay. To your point, and I'm not going to name names. I just stick up for myself. I mean, I'll put myself out there. I won't drag other people along with me. But the most encouraging thing, this is the first year that I've seen some big name lobbying firms get involved in this issue, which tells me it's right around the corner. So there is light at the end of the tunnel.
All right.
It's a no-brainer. So Ed, I mean, would you like to see the weed up there in South Bend? I mean, is it long overdue? I mean, you got some edgy people up there in South Bend. Is it something that you'd like to see?
Well, let me answer it this way, and this is a question. Talk about making that risk of going across the border, and I'm literally 5 minutes from the border here, and I am on basically a road that runs right into Michigan. I could do 10 minutes and be at a dispensary, and I don't see the risk of going. It is like an open highway to come back and forth. There's no problem of going up there and getting it. And I guess
Midnight
my question,
Express, did you see the movie?
Yeah, but my question here to Jim is, like, during the study sessions, where are we seeing enforcement? Are we seeing numbers on enforcement? Are we seeing numbers of people getting busted across, or are we waiting? Because my concern is they're not busting people in Granger. They're busting people over on the west side of South Bend. And as long as that weed's coming, it's an unequal enforcement here. And so that's my biggest concern. I would like to see medical, and I would like to see us, team up, be the same as Michigan, Illinois, because it's not going to matter on the border. But as we go recreational, something like that, the enforcement of it is not equal up here. And I'm just wondering if the state numbers that reflect that.
Well, to that point, Ed, I hate the fact of having a law on the books, selective enforcement. We're leaving up to discretion. It is a discretionary thing. A cop pulls somebody over, and you're pretty cool. You don't threaten them. You don't give them a bunch of lip. Cops are human, But the thing is, legislators put police officers in that position by putting laws on the books that they feel they need to enforce, and those are laws that we need to get off the books. Prohibition does not work. People are going to do what is in their best interest. Okay, now here's the thing. Cannabis. Okay, it's bullshit that we criminalize it, but it is. Let's deal with the reality of the situation. It is what it is. Let's not blame the cops, because it's the lawmakers that put the police in that position. But they also know that people. I've talked to so many fellow police officers that just shake their heads like, when are you lawmakers going to get your heads out of your ass and do the right thing?
Yeah, that is the $100 question.
A lot of heads and a lot of asses.
It's like an ostrich fest, I tell you.
But the thing is that there are a lot of legislators at the state that feel the same way. They're not as outspoken as I do. They get it. I mean, there's a lot of common sense that unfortunately is being suppressed for whatever reason. But guys, hang in there. We're close. It's going to happen. And it's podcasts like this. It's people like you guys getting out there and speaking. I cannot emphasize this enough. Be polite, be respectful, try not to be angry. As frustrating as it may be, but anger gets you nowhere, really. You know, it's
Yeah.
such
So
a
is your bill headed for committee? Where are we at in the process?
I've not been told no.
Okay, so keep me informed. I want to come down and testify in the committee. I want to come down and testify.
As long as you can not be angry and
Oh no, hey, I could do
That's
this
the thing.
justice.
People just need to show up in your suits, your business attire. If you look the part, it's a lot easier for people to listen to you. Like you said, just be calm.
I'd like to go ahead and go ahead, Jim, and then I'll comment.
No, you're not being a sellout. It is what it is. You know, people have to learn. We have to be smart about this. We are so close to this, and it's going to happen. And I testify, you know, and I've said before, Indiana is known as the crossroads of America. There's no reason on earth we can't be the crossroads of cannabis, because when you look at our geographical location, we have IU, we have Purdue, we have so many research facilities. There are so many potentials for this beautiful, wonderful plant that Indiana could be the leading state in the nation if only we could get some people that step up and say, hey, let's do this.
So, yeah, before Lucy goes, Adam wants to know, which committee do you think it's going to be assigned to?
Public health.
Public health. Okay.
On the House side, yes.
All right, Lucy.
Ooh, yeah, we need to have Ashley Grog back on again, because she's doing some great things on the public health side and the other places where, you know, the governor's trying to screw us. So I'm going to piggyback on what Tiffany said and just kind of make an observation here. Is Tiffany mentioned be professional, show up in your business attire, and I'd like to point out why that works. People in special costumes have special privileges. They get paid attention to. So when you have a law enforcement, you know, uniform on, it gives you these special powers where you can often beat up your fellow citizens or steal from them, you know, through the road pirates. And what showing up in your most expensive attire and carrying, you know, hopefully not a Balenciaga bag, what it shows is that people with money care. Yeah, exactly. Much better brand. People care. People with money care. And if people with money care, then that could actually affect the politicians, right? And so they know where their bread is buttered. So yeah, definitely show up in your absolute best clothes, because you need to exploit the costume loophole. Just like when a doctor walks in,
you know,
people automatically assume they're competent.
The cannabis laws are racist and
they
class-based, and they're there to hurt people. Then, so I was on the board. I'm on the board of Catholic Charities. We're doing this fundraiser and we're raising money. And we have these videos with all of these poor Black people with them. And it's a bunch of white people in the audience. And I'm on the marketing committee. And I said, hey, we need to do videos that reflect the people who were asking for money. So the next year we did videos that were, you know, white people that we were helping, you know, a mom with her kids who was in the shelter, a family that needed to adopt. You know, we showed that problems that Catholic Charities are helping, it's all kinds of people, and it's people that look like the people we're asking for money. So sometimes, Lucy, it is very effective if somebody can see somebody who's of their same socioeconomic background, who looks like them, telling them about their experiences, because it just cuts to the point. So there are different things that are in the media. And when you can take race out of different issues, then you can really talk about the root of the problem. So sometimes communication gets lost in what people look like and what they're wearing. And I'm not saying that you're wrong, and I'm not saying that it's right, but it's just true. So you've got to meet people where they are. And this, I was a pharma rep for 13 years. The majority of my clients were white men, and I did very, very well. You've got to be able to talk to people the way
you're
that
a beautiful woman, and you're smart. That's why they hired you, because men, at least I've never met a man who cared whether a woman was Black or white when she was just gorgeous. So you have that going for you.
But you know what? But that was not an issue.
And that is sort of like
it got you hired.
That's sort of like Jim saying
having people testify in suits and looking professional should not be something that's out of this world crazy to do.
Why don't we take the appearance out of it and take the race out of it and have everybody
okay,
testify
so let's I think comparing that is to like Jim not saying is concerned with revenue. So
no, I'm not. It's the right thing to do. Revenue be damned.
The right thing to do is to end the Fed. If you want to talk about revenue and socioeconomic,
we are so late with legalizing marijuana that we're not going to see the sharp revenues. We're just going to come in at a plateau because people who are already consuming, they're going out of the state.
Yes.
You're not going to see a hockey stick kind of inflection.
No.
It'll go up and then it'll just be level.
Do the right thing and everything else falls into place after that. Forget the revenue. And so many people come up and say, oh my God, you know how much money Indiana can make off this? Like, I don't give a shit. It's the right thing to do. Let's do the right thing. Let's regulate it so that way we know people aren't getting, I heard the term bathtub gin earlier. Let's make sure people aren't putting poison in their system. That way, when you go out and you buy a Budweiser, this Budweiser is good for you. It's not going to kill you. Same with cannabis. That's how we need to do it. We don't need to look at this from a revenue side or anything else. Let's do it because it's right, and let's treat it right, and everything else will just flow from there. But take the freaking politics out of it.
Yeah, I agree. And on that word, Jim, we are going to let you go. This was a very good discussion. I knew it would be. And let's see, Tiffany and Lucy didn't get into too much of a scrap there, so that was good. It's that's always good. And Ed, I'm going to give you the last word.
I feel some mud wrestling coming on, Lucy.
Yeah, well, probably during the conspiracy. Ed, I'm going to give you the last word, and then we'll say goodbye to our guest.
Who, me? Oh
no, I'm talking about Ed. Ed's going to.
Jim,
he's
no coffee.
Nope. Yeah,
not all coffee bad. They're out there.
My guess is Jim and I don't agree on a whole lot, but I could tell you tonight this has been a great show. This is something I can 100% get behind you on. I really appreciate your effort. And I would really enjoy it. We could talk about how we're going to dress, but when that comes around, I would love to have a mouthwash day. Like, we've had this topic so many times, and I think the people that we have watching our show support this, that if we had a mouthwash day at the State House, this would be the issue it would be on. I'm sure we could do other stuff, but yeah, I love it. And I just want to say thank you, Jim. It's been great to have you on the show.
And I'm easy to find. I'd love to go out with you. So I'll buy the first round. Let's get to know each other.
That's right. Well, Ed's probably the nicest Democrat you'll ever meet. So that's good. Well, Jim, we thank you. So I'm going to go ahead and play the bumper for the conspiracy theory here. And there it is. And then, hey, thanks, Jim. And, you got another bill or whatever, keep us posted on there. Cause I can come down and I can speak without being mad. So, I'll do some justice on this thing.
There's no reason to be angry when you're right side of the issue.
I may have to try some of that Big Red before I come down, just so I stay even. Stay even.
I'm ready for you.
Got it. All right. Thanks, Jim. We'll talk to you later. Thanks.
You for what you're doing.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
Hey, y'all, better get your tinfoil hats out. It's time for the conspiracy theory. Come on now, let's go.
All right. Oh, wait. There we go. Oh, you saw behind the curtain there. You saw the wizard behind the curtain there. So, I thought that was a very good show, people. I'm proud to have you as a panel.
So what's with you trying to keep this to an hour? You got someplace to go?
I didn't want to hold him that long, but we have a fairly long conspiracy theory because Ed's actually got a video that he's going to play. So, it's going to take 2-3 minutes. But I didn't want to. I just felt like we were at the end of that discussion there on that, and I know that we tried to have Jim on our show about a year ago, and I had him third in the lineup, which was a learning experience for us. And then he said, I don't have time for this. I'm out here. So I was really sort of catering to our guests and try to be respectful of their time. So I think that was good. And it was good to see Becky Cash in our audience. She's down there at the house fighting a good fight, trying to figure it out, throwing the weed out with the chaff and all that. So we have and our new policy of we're not going to have the politician come on and ruin their careers. And, our careers are okay to be ruined. Although, Tiffany, you're sort of a politician too. What'd you think about Lisa going for the city county? Well, you weren't on when she was announcing that, were you?
Yeah, but I think it's fantastic. I think she's going to have a great campaign manager / treasurer.
I'm not either one of those, by the way. So that's what I agree with you.
Great ones.
Yeah, we got
it's a
Cheech.
great time in the
Cheech.
Republican Party to be a woman, and just to be something outside of what people are used to seeing. So I'm excited
Yeah.
for her.
And she's got another friend that's running too I think you'll see. It's the year of the woman is what I'm hearing. So yeah, I think Cheech is going to be, or Chong's going to, that's Cheech over there. That's Chong. That's Chong over there is going to be the treasurer, and Cheech is going to be the campaign manager, and we're gonna really run a high campaign. So that's yeah, I got you. So I'm going to start with Lucy tonight on the conspiracy fact, and then Tiffany, then Ed. We'll go that route. So Tiffany, Lucy, what do you got for us? What do you got?
Well, it is indeed a conspiracy fact. And I think probably most people watching are going to agree with me on this. And that is simply that keeping cannabis from the people is a way to keep people sick on so many levels, psychologically, physically, and also to keep the profits in the hands of companies like Eli Lilly. I mean, let's face it, antidepressants, as I put into the chat stream earlier, are expected to exceed 22.6 billion by 2026. They were over 17 billion last year. So the stranglehold of how people feel and their productivity is unbelievably profitable. And, when you've got that kind of monthly recurring revenue, what better business model is it than somebody who takes your product every day?
Yeah, I know.
So
That's
it's
what I'm
going to be
saying.
it's still an uproad
I know,
battle
and I
until
think
that.
we could have a little continuing discussion on that, because you're right. If you're, Eli Lilly and insulin would be a good example of how it costs X amount to do, and they ran that up to a high thing.
And
Tiffany, you're having a
insulin
heck of a
was
time with that.
given. Insulin, the patent was given to the people so that it would always be affordable. So, it's a tragedy on so many levels. So I would like to have a widespread conspiracy, a whole bunch of Hoosiers conspire. I don't personally smoke cannabis. I don't drink either. So I'm grateful that I have other things that I can use, like, valerian or lemon balm or passion flower. But for those who really want to release the weed, to free the weed. And if you happen to smoke and you get a few seeds, I just posted in the chat, cute little YouTube video about how you can make seed bombs. And you can put, various wildflowers in those seed bombs. Valerian happens to, at least my neighbor thought I was growing cannabis when it was just valerian. But I pulled up the root and showed him, to smell the root. Valerian smells like stinky teenage boy feet. That's like its only bad.
I don't even want to. I don't.
It's
I had
pungent.
teenage boy feet, and I don't want to remember that.
So make your seed bombs where you have seeds, and make sure that that the weed is released everywhere. If it's growing everywhere, they can't eradicate it.
Yeah. So yeah, that's that's a
the
good
weed
point.
is more powerful than the government, and it can propagate. One plant is going to produce 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 seeds. The birds are going to eat them. They're going to fly over and they're going to poop. And when
that's
it's
gonna be
when it's so ubiquitous, when it is so, what is cooler than that, right? You got a little fertilizer packet along with your seed, and it's stratified because it's been through the bird's digestive system. So it's going to be easier for that plant to pop up. That's where I'm really passionate. Free the weed, and those people who have some seeds, take your responsibility seriously to turn Indiana green.
Yep. So, and here's I'm going to let Dorn get in on the conspiracy theory. The Chateau de Marseille studio needs an anarchy show. So, yeah, I think we sort of weave that into our mouthwash show a little bit on occasion. But that's one of the points that you make. To me, this is one of those things that I think that either people are presently, if they like to smoke it, are smoking it, because in Marion County it's decriminalized. You can't get arrested for it, and there's, I know, like, all sorts of people. All I gotta do is call them, hey man, I'm in a little weed. But I haven't smoked the weed since the 9th grade. That's pretty, the marijuana, the weed, the ganji,
that's when what you call it when you haven't smoked since 9th grade.
Easy there, eh? Easy. Don't make fun of my age here. But yeah, because I flunked off the freshman basketball team, and I said, hey, they don't call it smart. It's called dope. So I just had to get off of that stuff. But I think my point is that I think people that are using this, I don't think we're going to see a big spike in users because it's legal. So Tiffany, I'm glad you finally got your tinfoil hat figured out there, because now you look like little Sally Who on the Grinch. So
trying to make things work. So I just wanted to share that, just another day being Tiffany. I feel like I really understand like Jennifer Aniston, Halle Berry, Taylor Swift when it comes to dating. I feel like I'm living in that world. Yeah.
Well, you know, you got to kiss a lot of frogs before you find the prince. Is that what they say? And so, how's that lip gloss doing?
Hey, so I was with Senator Walker earlier today, and I'm really thinking like I can get some people to rally for a truth in advertising bill, but Adam said it's already out there. But we need to make sure that products are marketed correctly and that it's based on what's consumable, not what's in the container, because 30% of lip gloss cannot be used. It just stays in the container no matter what you do. And we need to rally. We need to get together. We need to unite. People unite.
Oh, Lisa's behind this 500%.
Yes.
She's got that sticky lip gloss.
Yes.
I'm like,
And then it's like with the container, there's some that's always in there. We need to rise up, women. Men too.
Well, you know, you've got your beauty tip in on this show. I want to say this has probably been almost a perfect show. I mean, you know, everything's fallen into place here. You know, it's just all the technology worked pretty well. I'm very impressed with this. So now let's let Ed ruin the show. So Ed, what do you got here? You got a little video for us, right? Is that what I'm hearing?
That is. So I woke up this morning and I wanted like a thematic conspiracy theory about dumb stuff you do when you get high. And then Jim Irsay, I checked out his Twitter feed and saw a video that I can't explain it better than that. So go ahead.
Well, you just want to roll this thing. Let me get it going here.
Yeah, just roll it.
Hey, Chris, how's it going, man?
Well, Mr. Irsay, we've cut down the list to our final few candidates.
To how many?
16.
And I presume that list includes Jeff Saturday?
Yes, Mr. Irsay.
Good. I think he's the man for the job.
Mr. Irsay.
Can bring back the glory days, man. Like Madonna going back out on a world tour.
Look, Mr. Irsay, I understand y'all's relationship. All right? I do.
With Madonna?
No, with Jeff.
Those
old days, they were great. All right?
Because I never really interacted with Madonna, so.
They were great. All right? They were.
But
this ain't music. This ain't your guitar collection. All right? Going back to the past in football doesn't make things better. It makes things worse.
I don't think I understand.
We can't keep selling the greatest hits album. All right? We need a new songwriter. All right? A new lead singer.
I'm still not following.
Jeff Saturday's not an NFL head coach. I mean, I don't know how many friggin' times he got to show you that. He gives up the biggest comeback in the history of the NFL. It's outscored 50 bajillion in the fourth quarter. I mean, I don't mean to overstep my boundaries, but damn.
Look, man, okay, my number one quality in a head coach is proximity to Peyton Manning. Okay, and no one has a more intimate, close relationship with him than Jeff Saturday. I mean, every week that guy literally had his hands in his ass.
So what? He snaps him the ball 15 years ago, and because of that, now he's gonna come in and stick his hand up there and work him like a puppet now?
I hadn't thought about it that way. That's not bad.
That is classic right there. And Dorn's commentary would be Madonna'd be a better coach.
I lost 2 minutes and 36 seconds of my life.
Of your life? Yeah, I know.
I'm not getting back.
You're not a big football fan? Is that what I'm saying? Are you a big
No, I'm
Jeff
not
Saturday
a video fan.
What's that?
It's stupid. It's
Oh.
stupid.
Yeah. Well, hey, Ed did it, so hey, you can take it out on him.
Can't get Irsay posted that shit.
Well, actually, Jim Irsay
He
liked it. I
did.
mean, he put it on his thing, put a smiley face on it. He thought, I think it's good though. You can laugh at yourself. I mean, that works for me.
Well,
So.
you know, you don't have to post it on Twitter.
But yeah, on the oh look now, look, hey, this is the guys wanted Ed to send the link, so there you go. You know, so hey, so Tiffany, I'm sorry. I'm sure there's some guys that are shaking their head about the lip gloss thing. I'm just saying, if you want guys to get behind your lip gloss,
Adam's on my side about like inkjet printer cartridges. It's all good. You know, we need to advertise what's consumable, not what's in the package. We're gonna rally. We get drag queens.
I'm promising next week I'll have something about lip plumper. How's that? I'll go
I'm
back to the
actually
lip
wearing
plumper.
Buxom lip plumper now.
lip plumper. Okay, that's great. Look, Lucy, Lucy, do you have a plant that we can plant that makes your lips plumpier?
Well, I'm sure every man is wanting to know the secret ingredient, but for the benefit of the men who are out here, and I have 10 children, so I know, if you are struggling with testosterone, you should be looking into cracked cell wall pine pollen. Yes, the yellow stuff that coats your cars. You take a mega dose of that, and just speaking very plainly, because that's just the sort of person I am, your morning wood can probably come back with a tablespoon or two, and then so you can prove it to yourself that it works, and then start taking it every single day.
Can you?
I think I'm gonna get in trouble.
Or do you just snort it off of a car?
No, it tastes just like pine nuts. So I put it in my
nuts. I see what you did there.
Yeah. No, but it really does, because it's pine pollen.
It's like,
and
rub it on the baseball
if you are suffering, one of the best places, I'm going to give you my favorite places to buy herbs. The first is Marcus, Markus, marcusproducts.com. High quality, coolest guy ever. When you see what he and his girlfriend look like, they look like they're in their 20s and 30s, and they're 55 and 60. They're raw vegan. You'll want to only eat raw vegan from now on. Secondarily, really great website, but expensive, is lostempireherbs.com. I appreciate the links that they go to with science. They have an entire section that's simply peer-reviewed studies. Logan Christopher, the guy that owns it, he goes out and just has all kinds of interviews with serious experts. If you're on a budget, greenbush.net. Greenbush.net. Greenbush, yes.
and pine
if you're on a
nuts.
budget,
Greenbush and pine nuts.
Everything that I have bought from their website has been of high quality. It has the added advantage of having glycerin extracts instead of only alcohol tinctures. So you can pull out the active constituents with alcohol. Some pull out with water. That's why I've been drinking my tea all night, because I've been sick all day. And guess what? Some people, maybe they don't want an alcoholic tincture. They don't want to put their stuff in vodka. So you can get a glycerin tincture. But I will give my personal testimonial for that company. Every single one of them has given me excellent customer service. And I will leave you with this. Marcus's Man-Force is an awesome product. Awesome, awesome, awesome product. It says on there that it tastes bitter and it tastes bad, but that's not been my experience. I think it tastes just fine.
What exactly is that product?
It's called Man-Force. It has, pine pollen and Tonkat Ali, which is also known as long jack. And that's, yes, it really is. That's the common name.
I gotta beg your pardon. Leave my tincture out of this, or whatever you call that stuff.
Yeah, and I'll leave you with this one thing. The most popular formula, which often sells out at Lost Empire Herbs, is called Thor's Hammer. Just saying.
Wow, we got pine nuts, green bush, Thor's hammer. What was that? Long jack.
Mm-hmm.
And here's our final word. And now a word from our sponsor, or as Monty Python said, and now for something completely different. So, hey kids, go ahead, Ed. If you got something else to throw in here to ruin the show.
Wait, I got one last question for Lucy. Yeah. I just want to know, Lucy's got like 10 kids, and you said something about stinky boy feet or teen boy feet. Is there any other kind of boy feet, like teenage feet?
I think puberty hormones do a number. That's probably true.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure there was.
Now now we've really struck an all-time low when Dorn says we're gutter minds. That is that we know that it's time to go. So it's time to go. So everybody say goodbye. Thank you for our viewers, and don't forget we do have t-shirts. Hey, we actually sold 2 t-shirts. and maybe one.
What's our cut? Hold on. What's our cut?
I'm sending you T-shirts. Okay, so you get paid in
2
T-shirts.
bits. You
2
get
bits
2
and a
bits.
dollar. 2 bits and a dollar. You know, that's
Yay.
what we got. Yeah, it's like love you long time. So there you go. Look
Are
at
they in the
this
mail
gold
already?
bond powder spoken like from a true. Yeah, never mind. Like peanut butter. Oh dear.
This is
I'm ending
tan
this
nuts.
show. I'm
These
ending
are
this
tan
show
nuts.
now because it's gone off the rails. So we'll
Creamy tan nuts.
we'll catch you next week. Adios, everybody.